Hare Krishna. Om Jnantimirandisya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Hare Krishna. So this is a very nice chapter, even though it is a technical part. It's a very nice descriptions, and purports are also very nice. Basically, Sukadeva Goswami is telling, don't have your grandchildren on the lap and chant Hare Krishna. Just that is not the way to meditate on the Lord, because people, they are having grandchildren and they are doing chanting. How will they focus on the holy name and Supreme Lord in that way? They can have grandchildren and they can enjoy, but while chanting, you cannot be in front of TV. You cannot have. By the time grandchildren comes, they should take very serious steps in spiritual life and consider. And you can have some entertainment, but not chanting. Not like that. Because I have seen some there. There. So it is not time for playing. It's time for living the whole. Going. This is uh, what is expected after certain age, and then that will help them to perfect. Because I don't have that realization, but at least that is the truth. We can speak that. And another important is here Sudhir Goswami is going to further give nice points, and Prabhupada's purports are also very nice. We'll just see. And few points about the second canto, I'll just summarize. So in this chapter, the two verses of this whole canto, this last two shlokas of this chapter are very important. 36 and 37. Tasmat sarvatmana rajan harir sarvatra sarvada shrotavyah kirtitavyasya martavyah bhagavaninam and pibanti ye bhagavat atmasatam katamritam shravanti puteshu samvritam Punanti te vidushita shayam rajanti tacharana saroruhantikam. So these two verses are very important of this chapter. A whole canto, these two are the most important verses. You have to memorize them. Actually, we have to do the second chapter slokas also. I will again start them, maybe tomorrow onwards. And then we discuss the third and fourth chapters are talking about enthusiasm, faith, and it appears in the heart as a result of what? Purification. How purification happens? Because of meditation. Meditation in the previous first and second chapters is about meditation. When we meditate, we get purified, correct? And then what happens? You feel enthusiastic. So pure consciousness is always joyful. Pure consciousness is energizing the consciousness and is always that intuitively feel the presence of a higher power in life. That's why a person is very enthusiastic. They know that Lord is taking care of me and He will take care of me. That is the very important thing at the time of chanting also, because there is nothing to plan, there is nothing to do. We are very, very secure in Lord's hand when we are chanting the holy name and taking a shelter. It is not something sentimental. It's what the Shastra is saying. We should feel that security in our chanting. And that's all. No need of any other things. Other things will anyway happen. We are posed by material nature to act in a particular way. But this is very important. Anyway, now the two obstacles we discussed. First is belief in other demigods, other ways of fulfilling the desires. And Sudhir Goswami names 29 devatas who are often worshipped by people. 29 he mentions, starting with Brahma, Brihaspati, or all these things. And then there is a big supermarket. He also knows, because especially in South India, we have every temple has a supermarket where you can fulfill. And he says, no, akama sarva kama moksha kama. And the only object of worship should be the Supreme Lord. There is no need of worshipping any other. And then he says, now, how important is enthusiasm? One important, how enthusiasm works is, This is Vyavasayatmika Buddhi. That focus is what is, can say we are enthusiastic. Ekeha Kurunandana, Bahushakaha Anantasya. Now, there is a second obstacles. Actually, these are the two things in Bhagavad Gita also, because we have discussed the parallels between first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, first canto, second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and second canto of Bhagavatam, like that. The second obstacle is wasting time in activities not related to bhakti. That's why we need to be Vyavasatmika Buddhi. And how can we determine what we believe? Uh, Enthusiasm can be limited or stimulated if we spend our time on useless things. That's why again he gives another Vayur Harati Vaipamsam Udhyanastam Channaso Tasya Tekshanam Uttama Shloka Vartaya. This is every rising and setting of the sun. There is a second 17th shloka in the same chapter. Sorry, in the third chapter, 17th shloka. Uh, so then he gave, these are the reasons why people lose enthusiasm. They are spending their time in useless things. And now fourth chapter is very interesting, because in this also there is an enthusiasm, faith on the spiritual master. So Parikshit Maharaj, faith on his spiritual master, and Sukadeva Goswami's enthusiasm. Uh, he expresses his faith on spiritual master, enthusiasm to hear about the Lords, and then because of this enthusiasm, the teacher reveals all the secrets to his students. Only when he feels this enthusiasm, the sincere desire in the student, then he will reveal. And then here the faith, then he explains the Parikshit Maharaj asks a question. No, very interesting. Parikshit Maharaj did not ask his spiritual master, tell me about Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan, because it's very less time. And Sukadeva Goswami could have skipped everything and did not have to describe so many things. He could have directly told 10th canto pastime like any other Bhagavad Kathakars. They also do the same thing. They skip everything directly 10th canto Leela. Because he has very less time, and nobody would have questioned also Sukadeva Goswami, why you are not speaking all this. But when it comes to Sukadeva Goswami, you see, he is going through everything. He's reciting whole Bhagavatam in this way. He is not omitting anything, because that is the way we need to learn Bhagavatam. We have to adhere to the principles, the sequential presentation, in order to set an example for further readers also. That's how. Because, and then 12th shloka till the verse 13th till end of this fourth chapter is the Mangalacharan, the prayers of Sukadeva Goswami. So we'll try to discuss a little bit on them. Now this is a very uh, the structural of Mangalacharan of Sukadeva Goswami is also very nice. And the first 7 verses of is Mangalacharan, or is the expression of reverence to the Lord. They all end with the word Namaha. And a person gives up his selfishness in relationship. This is the first thing. Namaha means na mama iti. It is not mine. That means I am giving up my selfishness. That's what it is. Anytime anybody is doing yajnana, when they put ahuti, Krishnaya swaha idam namama, it's not mine, it's for the Lord, it is Lord's. So what is happening is, we are giving up our selfishness. And also he speaks of his humility before those who are above him. And humility is the key for success that is considered in any endeavor. And also in the beginning, he talks about the power of the Lord present in the world. And he's talking about the form of 3 Purushas. He talks about 3 natures. This is all about first 7 verses of Mangalacharan of Sukadeva Goswami. I'm just trying to explain. Maybe in the 7th when you come to the 4th chapter, we can do it detailed. But why I'm taking is because it is, we are talking about the structure. Now, there are some very important famous verses from the Mangalacharan also. And this Vallabha Sampradaya and all, they, before starting Bhagavatam, we do Narayana Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottam, right? What they do is they recite this Mangalacharan of Sukadeva Goswami before reciting Bhagavatam, like that. And Then I will share the notes and I will discuss, because it's actually very technical, and just speaking technical thing without showing anything becomes difficult. I will tomorrow I'll make the notes. Actually, I have notes, but it is quite not very organized. So tomorrow I'll make the notes, and and then we'll just see that prayers part. But then chapter 5 is the cause of all causes. The primary creation, Sarga or Karana, the creation of all causes, that is the 5th chapter. And we discussed it's a mirror, right? Two lotus feet. You have left and right. So the top, the 10th are the two, 10th and first chapter of 10th canto are same. And they are the two smallest fingers of two feet. And then we have 5th and 6th will be the thumb of the toes of the big. So they are both same in terms of creation. So 5th is Sarga and 6th is Visarga, secondary creation, the creation of the bodies of living entities. And 7th is Avataras of the Lord, and how the Lord is merciful to the world. And same thing, the 3rd chapter of this describes uh, uh, and chapter 5, there is a very nice, Narada asks 6 questions actually. Narada teaches how to ask questions in the 5th chapter. This is a wrong way of asking questions, expressing our doubts, and sometimes there is a right way to ask. And then Brahma answers the question based on this fact. And we will see some of the, I will share the notes with you, how evolution of the universe happens, and there is some chart also I will share with you how it happens. And we have this, many of them, Balram Shiktivar was also sharing. I also have some things to share in the chart. Maybe yeah, tomorrow I'll share the chart. I'll just see if today we will do with the purports, and tomorrow I'm just little bit taxed with other things, so I could not make the notes. But yeah, I have one more important thing to explain, how why Krishna is condemning Vedas in Bhagavad Gita, that I promise. So I'll just take that part for you in few minutes, and then we will see, because Krishna is also telling, Traigunya Vishya Veda Nistraigunya Bhavat. That means he's in one way is condemning, what is this Vedas and all. Because this is a very important understanding also. Uh, what Krishna is telling, I have discussed this little bit. There is elaborately, I gave one class on duality. So we are elaborately discussed, but still we will do something here. Like what Krishna is telling, that what is our greatest enemy is we are hearing. And in this material world, we hear so much, that is the cause of that is the cause of our suffering, because we hear too much, from where we hear Yamimam Pushpitam Vacham, the flowery words of it, the promises. And now there is Google Veda. We visit to various sites and you get so many opportunities to make money and all these things. And no, and what is the result of this? Janma karma phalaprada. That is the problem. Uh, so when Krishna actually is condemning Vedas, because uh, please try to understand. Uh, we are so much of followers of Sanatan Dharma and all, but Krishna is telling, no, no, go beyond the Vedas, because people are attracted to these promises that are given in the Vedas. That's why people. Yeah, actually, yesterday I had 5 classes. By the time I completed, my throat got so much affected. Now I'm not able to speak only. YouTube Janmashtami classes I am posting in structural review group. If you are there in that, you can take from that. Whoever want to hear, I am taking every evening Janmashtami, not Janmashtami, it's Janmashtami meditation. If somebody is interested, they can join that structural review group. I'm posting in that group. So I kept earphone as much as possible. I am trying because I have few more classes in the day. Uh, Okay, I will add you in that group, Ruchi. I will add in that group so that you can hear that recording. Of course, I am taking 5 topics I am taking for Janmashtami in this week. First is Krishna is how Krishna is uh, Akila Rasamurtamurti. Second topic is how Krishna is Ashritatva. Second is how Krishna is Paramasatya and how Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan, how Krishna is Bhagavatam. These are the 5 topics for 5 days. Mhm. Yeah, and we'll see other days next week. Next week I will take Krishna is very merciful or some other pastimes. Bhaktivinoda Thakur I want to take from the Leelas. We will see. And we have to meditate and we have to meditate on Krishna somehow or other. And this is nice meditation. And more we hear Bhagavatam, more feel ecstatic and enthusiastic. But no, this is very interesting. Please hear attentively. This one part I wanted to explain what Krishna is trying to make us understand. Because why Krishna is telling most important thing is when we read Krishna condemns Vedas, including the scriptures, and we have now so many Vedas. Google Veda is also there, the 5th Veda, and because there are so many things that are promising, and because of which there are so many pleasures that are promised in the Vedas also, which is distracting the mind. And people go, what is the result of this? They say, you get yamam pushpitam vacham prabhavantyavisha vedavada rata partha nanyata sthiti vadana. They say, Are, nothing is there. This all, that's all, enjoy only. And kamatmanam swargapara. You will get swarga. You can go to Malaysia, Singapore, and so many other places like that, swargapara. And then what is the ultimate result? Janma karma phalaprada. That's all. That means we are just, the phalaprada is, we are just rotating in this circle of janma and karma phaladra. They are getting the results of their own activities. They are just born. Their birth is just because of their activities. They are just caught up in this world. So unfortunate, right? And then you keep coming again and again because you are you, as long as you keep falling to these promises, we are just attracted to these advertisements or promises in the Vedas. Then as long as we have hope that I can become happy somehow or other in this material recipes that are given, I will receive only one fruit. What is that? Janma karma phala pradhan. Kriya vishesha bahulam bhoga aishwarya gatim pratim. What is the 2 things that they get? Bhoga and aishwarya. Bhoga is what? It says we have so many types of enjoyment. Uh, and they promise beautiful things, beautiful wife, you get wonderful husband, you can get divorce, you can get this achievement, that achievement. So many promises they give. And then what is the thing? There are 2 things which people want in this material world. Um, mm, Bhoga is enjoyment, Aishwarya is power. This is what. And then what happens? Samaduna vidiyate. They don't have one pointed attention. That is the problem here. So, and Bhoga Ishwara Prasaktanam Taya Aparata Chetasa. Their intelligence is stolen. They cannot do anything. It's, you all heard in Bhagavad Gita, you might have taken yourself many things. But that's why Krishna is telling Traigunya Vishayavida Nistraigunyo Bhavajna. Now, what is the why Vedas are given first of all then? So there are three reasons. First reason is that uh, eh, because it is said that people they need to learn through some rules and regulations, because you need to regulate persons. It is said that children they learn anushashanam. You learn through discipline, and so Vedas help them to be disciplined. So, but before that, what they do, like if you tell a small child, a fourth class child, you study nicely, you will become a lawyer, you will become a doctor. The child will ask, if I study, can I get a sweet, a lollipop? So for him, lollipop is important, not doctor or anything, because he cannot relate to it. That's why the Vedas, to bring them to a regulated life, they promise so many things. Once they come, they say, oh, you get this, you get that. So then they come to the Vedas. Then their desires are getting fulfilled. They develop faith on Vedas. Then they start following the rules of the Vedas. So that is the second purpose. First purpose is to attract. Second purpose to make them regulated. And third ultimately is to make them devotees of the Lord. So that are the three purposes of the Vedas. That is how the Vedas are given. And uh, so now here that's what it's not to condemn them but to help them. No, I'm you're not able to hear, then I'm okay, means throat is not okay. Bodies. Yeah, every time whole metal body is like that only, and it is good to do this service, otherwise I'll just sleep only. Better to speak Bhagavatam than to sleep. It is not good. So here, uh, then the seventh shloka will take some purport. They are nice points also. Who else but the gross materialistic will neglect such transcendental thought and take to the non-permanent names only, seeing the mass of people fall in the river of suffering as a consequence of acquiring the results of his own work. So in the Vedas, it is said that the people who are attached to demigods to the exclusion of supreme personality of Godhead are like the animals who follow the herdsmen, even though they are taken to the slaughterhouse. So going to Vedas is going to demigods is going to slaughterhouse. Prabhupada is writing. No, it's not. Vedas are only telling. The materialistic, uh, like animals, do not know how they are being misdirected by neglecting the transcendental thoughts of the Supreme Person. No one can remain vacant of thoughts. It is said that an ideal brain is devil's workshop, because a person who cannot think in right way must think of something which may bring about disaster. The materialists are always worshipping some minor demigods, although this is condemned in Bhagavad Gita. As long as a person is illusioned by material gains, he petitions the respective demigods to draw some particular benefit which is after all illusory and non-permanent. The enlightened transcendentalist is not captivated by such illusory things. Therefore, he is always absorbed in transcendental thought of the Supreme in different stages of realization, namely Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. In the previous verse, it is suggested that one should think of the Super Soul, which is one step higher than the impersonal thought of Brahman. And as it was suggested in the case of contemplating the Virat Rupa of the personality of Godhead. Now, Prabhupada writes that intelligent person who can properly, sorry, yeah, who can see properly may look into the general condition of living entities who are wandering the cycle of 84 lakh species. This is a very important understanding that, see, what happens is uh, the child, na, he have only attachments and he is fearful and attached. His emotions are not grown, and he's very attached to the mother. He's attached. His emotions are not grown. The more a person becomes mature, the more his emotions grows. After age of 13, 14, he understands what is love, friendship, this, that. So many types of emotions he can relate to people differently. But a child cannot do, is not grown. Similarly, when we are attached to these things, I was telling you, we are so much attached to our family, this. then we cannot experience the higher emotions, higher relationship, especially with Krishna, not possible only. That is the point. We have to give up the lower attachments. Like the child cannot have so many types of, he's not very mature to experience and relate to people differently with different emotions. Like we have friends, we have relatives, we have uncles, aunts, everybody, we have different types of relation. More we are mature, more we can relate to them. Similarly, when we are attached to all these things, now we cannot relate to that emotional higher level of emotions. Spiritual emotions are not possible only. Another thing is, that is a childish mentality. Attachment is childish mentality only. And now, what is the difference between a child and a grown-up person? A child cannot take responsibility. A grown-up person can take responsibility. That means when we are growing up, we are taking responsibility for our sadhana. We take responsibility for our chanting. We take responsibility for our hearing. That is the difference. We take responsibility to serve Krishna. And that responsibility gives rasa. That responsibility gives that pleasure in the heart. Otherwise, it is not possible. That is the point. Like if the people, they're just like children, it is no more. It is not a. They cannot do anything much for themselves. They're very caught up in their own world, attached. But if you give up attachment, and then we can take responsibility, then we are grown up children. We take responsibility, we experience higher emotions. It's like that. We take responsibility to serve Krishna. That's why Prabhupada, Jayapatak Maharaj, age 22. Okay, take sannyas, go. Take responsibility. He just sent everybody, he gave full responsibility. 22, they, in 20s and 30s only they are given sannyas. So much responsibility. That way they grow very fast. Now it is not so much. Proper times it was so much responsibility and so much fast. So Prabhupada is writing, intelligent person who can see properly make look into the general condition of living entities who are wandering in the cycle of 84 species, as well as different classes. It is said that there is an everlasting well of water called the river Vaitarani in the entrance of plutonic planet of Emeraj, who punishes sinners in different manners. Very interesting. No? There is Vaitarani river. After being subjected to such sufferings, a sinner is awarded a particular species of life according to his deeds in the past. Such living entities are punished by Emeraj, are seen in different varieties of conditioned life. Some of them are in heaven, some of them are in hell, some of them are the Brahmanas, some of them are misers. But no one is happy in this material world, and all of them are either class A, B, or C prisoners suffering because of their own deeds. The Lord is impartial to all circumstances of the suffering of the living entity, but to one who takes shelter of his lotus feet, the Lord gives proper protection. He takes such a living entity back home, back to Godhead. So our suffering is our own nightmare dream. And our nightmare dream is because we only made some mischievous activities. You see horror movie and sleep, then you get nightmare. So who is responsible? You only did, you are only getting a nightmare. You just chant Hare Krishna, read Krishna book and sleep, you get Krishna dreams. So you are only responsible. Uh, Now he says, others conceive of this personality of God residing within the body in the region of heart and measuring only 8 inches with 4 hands, carrying a wheel of chariot, a conch shell, and a club respectively. And now this is the feature of the Lord, and he is called Janardana, and like that, and different forms and different names of Lord that are explained, and Prabhupada mentions the names here. And next shloka says, his mouth expresses happiness, his eyes spreads like the petals of a lotus, and his garments yellowish, like the saffron of a kadamba flower, are bedecked with valuable jewels. His ornaments are made of gold, set with jewels, and he wears a glowing headdress. Glowing headdress and earrings. And these are very nice. And now Balaram Shakti Prabhu will come and explain about Paramatma feature. I want to focus on Prabhupada's purport. So it will balance, otherwise it will be repetition for you, redundant. His lotus feet are places over the whirl of his lotus like hearts of great mystics. On his chest is the Kaustuba jewel engraved with beautiful calf, and there are other jewels on his shoulders. His complete treasure is garland with fresh flowers. The ornaments, flowers, clothing, and all other decorations on the transcendental body of personality of God are identical with the body of the Lord. None of them are made of metal ingredients, otherwise, there would be no chance of their decorating the body of the Lord. As such, in the Paravyuma, spiritual variety are all distinguished from the material variegatedness. This is very important. You see, these are all transcendental only. That means these are spirit. So spirit can be manifested in terms of garments also, in terms of jewelry also, in terms of all these things. So it is spirit also has variety. Like subtle spirit, gross spirit, and it is manifesting in different ways. He is well decorated with ornaments worth about his waist and rings studded with valuable jewels on his fingers, his uh, leglets, his bangles, his oiled hair curling with a bluish tint, and his beautiful smiling face, and are all very pleasing. Prabhupada writes nicely, the Supreme Personality of God is the most beautiful person among all others, and Srila Sukadeva Goswami describes every part of his transcendental. Now, this is very interesting. Sukadeva Goswami is not repeating what he heard from Vyasdev. He is seeing and he is writing it. He is speaking. Whatever Sukadeva Goswami is speaking, he is directly visualizing that. When he's talking about Virat Rupa, he's visualizing. When he's seeing, when he's talking about Paramatma feature, he's directly seeing Paramatma and he's explaining about it. So that is what is Bhagavatam explained. That is why everybody on that level, they are on the Samadhi level. And so Parikshit Maharaj, when he's hearing, is directly able to see also because he is also in Samadhi. That is the, and for us to understand Bhagavatam, we also have to reach to the level of Samadhi. Of course, sometimes we go into Samadhi, but that's that's not the Samadhi. We have to go to real Samadhi state. Then we will be able to understand and relish Bhagavatam. So we were discussing yesterday also in our Janmashtami, the class, that this Bhagavatam is, it is three-dimensional. It's not two-dimensional. Shloka is not in two. It is, there is a depth also in every shloka. That's why if bell is ringing at one place, but the sound is in all three-dimensional, right? Similarly, every shloka is also three-dimensional of Bhagavatam. And that actually is a very nice thing to understand, because uh, then you will know the inner meaning of each verse. And we also want to go more deeper and understand what. Otherwise, it's like a comic book. Bhagavatam is not a comic, it's a poetry. It's some depth is there. Every shloka is glorifying Radharani. You don't find the word Radharani. It is glorifying Radharani. So that is only Acharyas can release. They can see more deeper understanding of it. What Sukadeva Goswami is speaking, like that. Anyway, Sukadeva Goswami is describes every part of the transcendental body of one after another in order to teach the impersonalists that the personality of Godhead is not an imagination, but the devotee for facility of worship, but it is the supreme person in fact and figure. The impersonal feature of absolute truth is but his radiation, as the sun rays are by radiation from the sun. And Lord's magnanimous pastimes and glowing glance of his smiling face are all indications of his extensive benediction. One must therefore concentrate on his transcendental form of the Lord as long as mind can be fixed on him by meditation. Uh, how much hard work they have to do, and we are thinking so easy. We also had to do so much hard work. By chanting slowly, the holy name will manifest, and the form of Lord should manifest, and we should meditate on the form of the Lord. First, when you are chanting, the lotus feet will appear, and then slowly the thighs and the waist and the beautiful face of Krishna will appear when chanting. So after Nama, Rupa should come to us. Nama will manifest. For us also, Rupa should manifest. Otherwise, we cannot go to spiritual. We think, oh, for yogis, they have to work very hard to meditate on the Lord. For us, we chant Hare Krishna. Yeah, when we chant Hare Krishna, is Rupa manifesting? Then we can say, yes, yes, I am in a good state. If it is not, then we are not taking it seriously. So, that's the Bhagavad Gita. It is said that the impersonalist undergo a series of difficult program on account of his impersonal meditation, klesho adiktarastesham. But due to Lord's personal service, but the devotees due to Lord's personal service progress very easily. Impersonalist meditation is therefore a source of suffering for the impersonalists. Here the devotees have an advantage over the impersonalist philosophers. The impersonalist is doubtful about the personal feature of the Lord, and therefore he always try to meditate upon something which is not objective. Thus, here is an authentic statement in the Bhagavatam reading the positive concentration of the mind on the factual form of the Lord. It is suggested herein that the meditative devotee should try to concentrate on the described form of the Lord as long as mind can be fixed upon him. His smiling benediction on the devotees are said to be extension, what to speak of his transcendental pastimes. To the neophytes, the great acharyas offer the same advantage by installing deities in the temple. This is nice purport. Please try to understand. Prabhupada said the neophyte can then come to the temple and directly concentrate upon the Lord by looking at his deity form, Archa Murti. This form of Lord is equivalent to that described here by Srila Sukadeva Goswami, who factually realized the Lord after hearing directly from his great father Srila Vyasadeva. Temple worship is not ideal worship, as is misconceived by the less intelligent, because the deity is not a product of iconography. The deity in the temple is authentic because he is installed not according to imagination but following the instructions of revealed scriptures. Therefore, the iconoclast should not try to banish temple worship and risk turning society towards atheism. Imagine, Imagination worship, however, is not advantageous because it is a product of material imagination and is thus not equivalent to meditation recommended here in Srimad Bhagavatam. So please try to understand. Like now, when we make the deities and all, it's not that we are just making, "Oh, I like this form, I like." No, no. It is given in the scriptures. Scriptures are telling, not only scriptures telling, Acharyas also got the same type of vision that is explained in the scriptures. That means Krishna is like that only. Acharya saw, scriptures are telling, and based on that, we are making the murti. Otherwise, everywhere, everybody is getting same type of darshan. You see, 5,000 years back, uh, Sukadeva Goswami is seeing the same form. 1,200 years back, Ramanujacharya is seeing same the form. Sridhar Swami 3,000 years back, and that time Bilwangal Thakur and Jaydev Goswami are at different places, different times, different people are seeing the same form. Madhvacharya, everybody is seeing the same type of form. They are at different places. Everybody meditated, they all got the same understanding. Now, if I am meditating, I am getting the same. You are meditating, you are getting the same form of. Then that is the form of the Lord. That is the proof. If say I am getting another form, I am getting a form is not playing flute, he's playing some drum. And somebody is getting another form of Lord, he's playing some other guitar. So then I say no, there is a contradiction. But you see, there is no contradiction only. All acharyas are anytime meditating, any other place, everybody is getting the same understanding of Krishna and everybody is agreeing. And then second thing is Shastras are also saying the same thing. So that is why our deities are not any imagination. Clear, na? This is the logic we have. Nobody has any contradiction with Krishna's form, especially Shastras and all acharyas, everybody. Even Shankaracharya also, nobody objected. No, no, Krishna's form is not like that. Nobody had objection only. Yeah, see? The process of meditation recommended herein is Bhakti Yoga, or the process of devotional service after one is liberated from the material conditions. Jnana Yoga is a process of liberation from material condition. After one is liberated from the condition of material existence, that is when one is in nivritti or previously stated herein, or one is free from all material necessities, one becomes qualified to discharge prasa bhakti. That means prasa bhakti starts after liberation only. That means we are doing bhakti. That means we have crossed that stage. No, we can very easily cross that stage. Therefore, bhakti yoga includes jnana yoga. And in other words, the process of devotional service simultaneously serve the purpose of jnana. Liberation from material condition is automatically achieved by gradual development of pure devotional service. These effects of bhakti yoga are called anartha nivritti. This is what is happening to us now. Things which are artificially. The first anartha nivritti happened for us now in the morning time. We don't now watch TVs because now we have morning Bhagavatam classes. Half of the anartha is gone. As soon as people get up, they open the TV, they want to see what is the news, they want to hear some songs, film songs. So many things happens in the morning. So much anartha nivritti happened to us. We already are tension. Array, when will I chant? When will I complete my chanting? And when then we are always class is there, the pressure of the class is there. And before the class, you want to complete your rounds. So half of anarthas are gone only in our life. And if some chanting remains, then you have to come in the evening or afternoon, you have to complete. So like that. So meditation on the lotus feet of personality of God, the first uh, processional step must show its effect by anartha nivritti. Prabhupada says the greatest type of anartha which binds the conditioned soul in material existence is sex desire. And this sex desire gradually develops in the union of male and female. When male and female united, the sex desire is further aggravated by the accumulation of buildings, children, friends, relatives, and wealth. When all these are acquired, the conditioned souls become overwhelmed by such entanglement, and the false sense of egoism or the sense of myself and mine becomes prominent, and the sex desires expands to various political, social, altruistic, philanthropic, and many other unwanted engagements resembling the foam of a sea waves, which becomes very prominent at one time and the next moment vanishes as quickly as cloud in the sky. The conditioned soul is encircled by such products of such desires. Therefore, Bhakti Yoga leads to gradual evaporation of sex desire, which is summarized in the three headings, namely profit, adoration, and distinction. This is a very nice purport. Nice point. Profit, adoration, distinction is actually manifestation sex desire only properly. All conditioned souls are mad after these different forms of sex desires, and profit, adoration, distinction is also sex desire only. And one shall see from himself how much he is being free from such material hankering based primarily on sex desire. As a person feels his hunger satisfied after eating each morsel of foodstuffs, he must similarly be able to see the degree to which he is free from the sex desire. Sex desire in its various forms is diminished by the process of bhakti yoga, because bhakti yoga automatically, by grace of the Lord, effectively results in knowledge and renunciation. Even if the devotee is not materially very well educated, knowledge means knowing things as they are. And if by deliberation it is found that these are things which are at all unnecessarily, naturally the person who has acquired knowledge leaves aside such unwanted things. When the conditioned souls finds by culture of knowledge that material necessities are unwanted things, he becomes detached from such unwanted things. This stage of knowledge is called vairagya, or detachment from unwanted things. We have previously discussed that the transcendentalist is required to be self-sufficient and should not beg from rich buoyant persons to fulfill the bare necessities of life. Sukadeva Goswami has suggested some alternatives for the bare necessities of life, namely the problem of eating, sleeping, and shelter. But he has not suggested any alternative for sex satisfaction. Very interesting. For eating, sleeping, and shelter he gave, but not for sex. One who has sex desire still with himself should not at all try to accept the renounced earl of life. One who has not attained to this stage, there is no question of renounced order of life. So, by the gradual progress of devotional service under the guidance of proper spiritual master And following the principles of Bhagavatam, one must be able at least to control gross sex desire, because one accepts the renounced of life factually. At least grossly it should be controlled. Prabhupada gives one more heavy thing. Such purification means getting free from gradual sex desire, and this is attained by meditating on person of the Lord as described herein, beginning with the lotus feet. This is a nice practical solution, Prabhupada. One should try to go upward uh, artificially without seeing for himself how much he has been released from sex desire. We should not try to go upwards. The smiling face of Lord is the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So now what happens is, when we are reading Bhagavatam, slowly our desire for this sex desire will reduce. And there are many upstairs who at once try to begin with the 10th canto, especially with the 5 chapters that delineate with the Ras Leela of the Lord. This is certainly improper. By such improper study or hearing of Bhagavatam, the material opportunities have played havoc by indulgence in sex life in the name of Bhagavatam. This verification of Bhagavatam is rendered by the acts of so-called devotees. One should be free from all kinds of sex desire before he tries to make a show of recital of Bhagavatam. Srila Vishwanath Chakra Thakur clearly defines the import of purification as cessation of sex intelligence. He says, uh, and as one gets free from the intoxication of sex intelligence by purification of intelligence, one should step forward to the next meditation. And in other words, the progress of meditation on different limbs of the transcendental body of the Lord should be enhanced in proportion to the progress of purification of heart. Now, this last part is the conclusion is that those who are still entrapped by sex intelligence should never progress to meditate above the feet of the Lord. Therefore, recital of Bhagavatam by them should be restricted to the first and second cantos of this. That's all. One must complete the purification process by assimilating the content of the first 9 cantos. Then one should be admitted into the realm of the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Very clear. Unless we have sex, don't unnecessarily jump. So gradually go, no problem. I'll just take one last verse before we end. The process of meditation should begin. Prabhupada, this purport's now very important. At least one time we nicely read, or at least we hear, then it will help us to be focused. Because Prabhupada's these points are very valuable, and some more things, more and more we hear, it will help us. Prabhupada is trying to guide us and help us get purified. We'll take help of Prabhupada. You might have read already all these purports, but again, some exercise for everyone. The process of meditation should begin from the lotus feet of Lord and progress to his smile face. The meditation should be concentrated upon the lotus feet and the calves and the thighs, and in this way, higher and higher. The more the mind becomes fixed upon the different parts of the limbs, one after another, the more intelligence becomes purified. So, this is how the meditation should happen. The meditation should concentrate on the person of the Supreme God, either in his Virata, Virat Rupa, the gigantic universal form, or Satchidananda. And one who can practice meditation upon the deity, concentrating his mind on the lotus feet of Lord, and gradually rising higher and higher. So this is for us. We can meditate on the deity form of the. And the second para is nice. According to Bhagavatam school, Lord's rasa dance is the smiling face of the Lord. Since it is recommended in this verse that one should gradually progress from the lotus feet up to the smiling face, we should not jump at once to understand Lord's pastime in rasa dance. It is better to practice concentrating our attention by offering flowers and tulsi at the lotus feet of Lord. In other way, we gradually become purified by archana process. So this is what we have to do. We dress the Lord, bathe him, etc. And all these transcendental activities help us purify our existence. When we reach the higher standard of purification, if we see the smiling face of Lord or hear the rasa dance pastimes of the Lord, then we can relish his activities. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, therefore, the rasa dance pastimes are delineated in the 10th canto. So the more we are able to become free from sense gratification, which means the more we become detached from sense gratification, the more we can concentrate. So Prabhupada, right, our intelligence in present condition state is of life is impure due to being engaged in sense gratification. The result of meditation on transcendental form of Lord will be manifested by one's detachment from sense gratification. Therefore, the ultimate purpose of meditation is purification of one's intelligence. Okay, then those who are too engrossed in sense gratification cannot allow to participate in archana or touch the transcendental form of Radha, Krishna or Vishnu deities. For them, it is better to meditate on gigantic Virat Roop. That's all. Because impersonalists, avoiders are not sufficient purified in their spiritual practice, archana is not meant for them. It is only for devotees. Okay. Can we meditate? Question is, can we meditate deity form of Lord in the temple? Our Lord appears in our meditation automatically. Our gross senses can be pursued the Lord, even subtle senses. So yeah, we can when you are chanting, you can if the form of the Lord is coming in front of your eyes when you are chanting, that is not wrong. You can meditate like that. When you are chanting, especially you are able to see you are remembering. That is basically our remembrance. If you are able to remember the form of Lord, where in the temple or which you are worshipping deities, you are able to remember when you are chanting, that is not wrong. That is recommended. No problem. Okay, thank you very much. I will, whoever is, I will just add some of the uh, for this Janmashtami classes and Hare Krishna. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.